Okay, last question here. I want to ask. This one's actually from Annie Wagner. Thank you, Annie Wagner, again.
Thank
Not
you.
just the surrogate question asking via Nick. This is actually from Annie, and she asks, okay, real question here, colon. I have a super bad FOMO. Do you know what FOMO is?
I don't.
You know, okay, so for those of you who don't know what FOMO is an acronym, F-O-M-O, that stands for fear of missing out. And it's just a state of being. People either have low or high amounts of FOMO, and it decides how much they're afraid of missing out on things. It's pretty basic, right?
Okay.
I have super bad FOMO to the point where I will ignore all of my responsibilities to hang out with people and cry. That's cry with 5 Ys. If I feel left out. Just kidding, I don't cry.
Oh, you got me.
You got me. Fooled me there. How do I change my FOMO to no FOMO? Thank you, Annie.
So we're trying to figure out how to no FOMO this.
How to go from FOMO to no FOMO.
FOMO to no FOMO.
She's told me about it before. I'm not surprised to get this question at all. So I want to bring it to you, Zane. If somebody has bad FOMO, if they have an extreme fear of missing out, how do you help them?
Can I upsettingly say I do the same thing? So I'm
you
not
do the same
best.
thing?
Yeah, it's like, oh, I have a bunch of homework and a test to study for and whatnot, but also this movie just came out and 2 of my friends want to see it. I will go see the movie.
That is the lamest thing. Why do we always get a question that's like this?
It's just you. Of course, you don't want to miss out on opportunity. Why do you think I film everything? I don't want to miss something.
Zane does film everything. Every single day, Zane puts out a comedy sketch. Every single day.
One went out today, yeah.
Yeah, I know, and that's not even me trying to plug you. It's just like a crazy fact that every single day you put it out because you videotape so much of your life.
The real way that you handle this situation is you push FOMO to its extreme. It's engraved in your skin now. You are as FOMO as possible. And I'm not saying it's a fear now. I'm saying it's an adrenaline rush. You are at this point of, I'm the thrill of my life is never missing out on anything. So what you do, you push its boundaries. You never leave your friend's side. You're there 24/7. Even if they try to get away, you've got webcams set up around the house. So you never have to miss them visually. You've got little lavalier mics, the shirt mics set up on them so that you can hear everything that they say. You've now hired a whole crew to follow them around in a van and spy on them, etc. Now, it might sound creepy, it might sound weird. I get it. But you know what? That's the risk you got to take with FOMO. Because when you got FOMO, you gotta know what's going down. If you don't know what's going down, if you're not willing to push it this far, are you really that afraid of missing out?
Dang, speak it. Even to go one step further, I would say that if you're actually committed, you hire an Annie Wagner lookalike to do all the things that you wouldn't, that you are okay with missing out on, but you still need to get done. Hire an Annie Wagner lookalike, do all the things that you would normally do if you weren't suffering from FOMO.
I know the exact place to get this lookalike. And that sounds amazingly weird, but that's what FOMO has led me to. There's this place up in the mountains in Australia. You may have heard of it. It has no name. When you get up there, it's...
What?
When you get up there, there will be a wise man with a good curly bar handle mustache. What he will look at you and say is, have you found a reason to be afraid of missing out? And you say, I'm so afraid that I even came here because who knows what's going on back home. The second you say that, he will show you a hat and he'll say, do you recognize this hat? And this is a real thing. This sounds a lot like the last thing I did. Don't worry, I'm not putting music in the background on this one. He'll show you a hat, and if you say, I recognize that hat, and then he throws it away and pulls out another hat, and you say, that's the same hat, then he'll know that you believe in cloning. It's a real thing.
Oh my gosh.
This is a real thing in Australia. It's up in the mountain, and you know the name of it because it has no name. And you go there, and you will learn...
What do you do before we get on Skype calls that makes you this way?
I wake up. No, you go you go to this place. You get cloned. You can have as many as you want. They're all free. The only price to pay is your own personal debt. of how you'll feel about the guilt of having a version of you die off in a horrendous Annie Wagner task situation. Like if you went to do laundry and one of them didn't realize they're not supposed to put themselves in the washing machine.
Yeah. I also liked what you were going on earlier with just like the idea of don't make it into a fear, make it into like an adrenaline rush. Stop viewing this fear of missing out as like this fear and start viewing it as some positive thing in order to like reach the greatest potential of all the things you have to experience in life, you know? You're just trying to make the best out of every day. You don't really need laundry that bad.
If you want a serious answer, yeah, the fear of missing out really is just the fear of you're not doing enough at the time and place that you're at. And like, oh, I could be out, just a mundane activity of whatever, like, oh, I could go run around the park or whatnot and be active, but I'm not doing this. Or if you wanted to be like, oh, I've never tried hang gliding, but I'm too afraid, but at the same time, what am I missing out on? But to me, cloning is an adrenaline rush for me.
Yeah.
I've done it quite a few times.
I'm glad we keep on going back to cloning.
I've done it quite a few times. You know at least 3 of my clones because they've done the other 3 episodes of this podcast so far.
Yeah. So, Annie, I'm going to give you a new acronym to identify your FOMO as. What should we name the new FOMO that is not fear of missing out, but should it be adrenaline rush to do everything? That doesn't make a very good acronym.
Adrenaline rush sustains everything.
Yep, that's it.